Okay, here we go. So, I put on this welding mask because I don't have any other kind of facial protection. And if I had the Life bottle nearby, which I do not. Okay, so got this funnel. And this line. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, well, we'll see what happens here. Yes, bubbles, 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 bubbles. Lots of bubbles. And I think I have the right amount of fluid because it's not overflowing into the hose. So that should mean all that gas is going into the ball. I'm going to go get the balloons, which I have forgotten. Ball looks like it's filling. Okay, as I showed you before, I have a means with this drum to put air pressure on the balls inside. That looks like it's maybe a quarter of the way full. So I'm going to try, just for fun, to see if I can get some gas in this balloon without the air pressure. If there's enough pressure to just do it without. So no, there isn't. Not enough pressure from the ball. The ball would have to be completely full, and the rubber would have to be stretched to give up back pressure. Excuse me. And we don't have that. So as soon as this stops bubbling, I'm going to go ahead and hook up some air pressure to it. Only problem is that that air pressure is going to backflow into the bubbler and therefore the reaction chamber, because I don't have a valve. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I have a valve. What am I talking about? For some reason the bees are attracted to this. Yeah, I'll just shut off the valve going from there, and then I'll put air pressure on it. And what would be nice is to wait for it to stop reacting, and then I want that to blow away, and then maybe put more lye in there. Make sure all the aluminum is eaten up, and then once that's true, once that's happened, well, it looks as there's no reaction anymore, no bubbling. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this valve, and hopefully that's not a problem. Well, wait a minute. The reaction chamber is still putting out some movement here. So I probably don't want to shut off the pressure, shut off the outlet to the ball until that stops. The bubbling has stopped in the water, but maybe, yeah, it's still bubbling a little bit through the water. So I'm going to wait for that to completely stop, and then I'll go on to the next step. All right, so I put the top on the barrel, and I put the ring on the top, ring on, and so now I'm. You turn it the right way though. I'm tightening this bolt, which will tighten up that ring and give me a airtight seal. And I have my air compressor here, and I have the regulator on about 10 psi. The pressure in the tank is 105 psi, but I can only put out 10 psi. So that's important because this drum can only handle somewhere between 5 and 10 psi. All right, so all right. So one way you know when this thing is as full as you can get it, shouldn't go any further, is that the bottom of it bulges and then it doesn't sit flat. And the more it bulges, the less it doesn't sit flat, right? That makes sense. It's rocking a little bit, has a little bit of a bulge. I have my gauge here to check, although at this pressure it really doesn't read very well. I need to get something that reads lower pressures. The other way to tell is by I didn't have this valve shut. That might be part of the problem, because the air is going back up through there, and I can't set the balloon down because it wants to blow away. I have to take the, what would you call this? This off, otherwise it leaks. Let's see if we can get some gas this time. Yep. Well, either it needs more air pressure or I'm out of gas, which isn't good. This is kind of floating and kind of not. Of course, I can't let it go here. So we'll try it in the shed. See what happens if I let it go in the shed. Well, that's crazy. Which probably means that this mostly air. It probably means it's mostly air that's come out because the ball was, and the hose and everything was filled with air, and that had to come out before the hydrogen. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try the flaming test and see if it blows up. It won't blow up. It'll just catch on fire. We'll see.